Hey guys, JV here sharing my thoughts on the future of Mass Effect. In an article published on May 10th, Kotaku claims that EA has put Mass Effect on hiatus and Bioware Montreal, the studio who developed Andromeda, has been turned into a support studio. Since then, the rumor mill has been churning like crazy. I've read everything from "we'll never play another Mass Effect game again" to "this is standard practice and nothing to worry about." People are also concerned about what this means for Andromeda DLC. There's a lot to discuss here, so let's jump right in. My immediate reaction to the Kotaku article was not good. I have no games industry experience myself, but anytime I read a company has been downsized, it's usually not a good thing. Kotaku corrected the title after it was initially published to reflect the fact that no developers were laid off, but moved around instead. A portion of Montreal's employees had been transferred to other studios to work on games like Star Wars Battlefront 2 and Bioware's new IP, codenamed Dylan. Montreal's studio director, Yannick Roy, confirmed the transfers from the studio in an official statement to Kotaku. So that's a rough outline of concrete facts from the article, and everything else, as far as I'm concerned, is speculation. Claiming that this single event marks the end of Mass Effect is fairly ridiculous at this point. We don't have enough information on the outside to confidently say there will never be another Mass Effect game. To me, this is a gut reaction to the language Kotaku used in their article, which I found a bit hyperbolic. However, a lot of the time we hear that studios begin working on, or at the very least brainstorming for the next entry in a series shortly after each game launches. We don't hear that until long after the fact, right when the next game is going to release, but a good example of this is Bethesda Game Studios and Fallout 4. According to Todd Howard, the first asset for Fallout 4 was created in 2009, a week after Fallout 3's DLC was completed. That's more than 6 years before Fallout 4 actually launched. Now, that's not an exact comparison since we don't have any DLC for Andromeda yet, but we simply don't know whether DLC is coming to the game at all. Whether studios decide to go with the Season Pass model or just sell content a la carte, we usually know which direction they're going in, or if they intend to create DLC at all. We don't know what DLC is coming, when DLC is coming, or even if DLC is coming for Andromeda. After learning about these transfers and Bioware reaffirming their support for live content with Andromeda's multiplayer and patches, I can certainly understand why people are worried about the possibility that we may never see single-player DLC. It's a real concern right now. But I also understand those say, no, we want the core game to be fixed first before any DLC is released, since Andromeda came out in an unacceptable state. At the end of the day, Bioware would be wise to come out in front of the issue and tell us whether they have plans to release DLC. Let's talk about this scaling down business, since many were quick to chime in on what that means. As I said, moving developers to other studios sounded like some very bad news at first. The timing seemed terrible as well, since we're still in DLC limbo. But a lot of people claim that shifting employees around like this, within such a large umbrella of developers that EA has, is common practice and nothing to worry about. I doubt it's either end of the extremes. I don't have nothing to worry about, but at the same time, I don't believe that moving people around before DLC is even announced could possibly be a good thing. These same people claim that the studios retain a skeleton crew of devs to work on the DLC since it doesn't require nearly the manpower compared to the core game. That does make sense, but I'm still skeptical. I wish I had an answer to this, but I don't. Bioware would be wise to let us know as soon as possible. What does this mean for the short-term future of Andromeda with DLC? Short answer is no one knows right now. On the Mass Effect subreddit, fans have been suggesting that Bioware could go one of several ways with the recent news. Worst case scenario, they scrap all work they've done on DLC and move those development resources towards other projects such as Battlefront 2 or Dylan. This would be pretty devastating depending on how many resources they've already put into this work, but it might be the best course of action if they believe the DLC just won't sell. Best case, if you do like Andromeda and want DLC, is that they have their skeleton crew in place working on the content as we speak and are just holding off to announce it when they feel the time is right. If the latter ends up being true, it's possible they're prioritizing supporting the game with patches that it needs first. But I wonder how sustainable it is to have people dedicated on fixing the game and other people dedicating on making new content, or a mix of both. If the former is true and they're scrapping DLC plans, Andromeda will have cemented its place in the series as the black sheep if it hasn't done so already. It would be remembered as the entry that was received so poorly that it didn't get DLC and probably won't get a sequel. And remember, the original Mass Effect, when it was a brand new IP, even that game got DLC. Bioware and EA have canceled DLC for games that weren't reviewed well in favor of working on the next game. In the summer of 2011, they canceled DLC for Dragon Age 2 in order to focus on Inquisition. It's something they've done before, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do it again. So, what does this mean for the long-term future of the Mass Effect series? As Kotaku suggests, a potential sequel for Andromeda has been put on hold, and Bioware's statement certainly doesn't refute that. Instead of immediately getting to work on the next game in the franchise, Bioware and EA are going to wait. Anytime I mention the next Andromeda game, I hold my breath and add the "if there is a sequel" disclaimer. I do that because Bioware themselves have said, before launch, that they don't know whether there will be a sequel to Andromeda. It's not crazy to wonder if there were internal doubts about Andromeda before the game even launched. If that happened to be true, I wouldn't be surprised if Bioware went in a different direction with Mass Effect, something that is more familiar to fans of the series. As much as we can debate about how good or bad Andromeda was, I think we can agree that this game was an attempt to capture what fans loved while introducing something new. Right now, I just can't say that I want an Andromeda sequel more than I want a game closer to what we had in the original trilogy. And that kind of bums me out because I was really rooting for Andromeda. The future of Mass Effect, the way I see it, is wide open. As long as EA can make money off of the Mass Effect IP, I doubt this is the last we've seen of it. I fully expect EA and Bioware to return to Mass Effect. It may not be as soon as we'd like, but hopefully after taking the time that they need, they will have learned from some of the missteps with this game and make a better Mass Effect game. Passing the conversation on to you guys, what do you think is the future of Mass Effect? Personally, I'd love to see a prequel or a spin-off within the Milky Way Galaxy. I feel that a lot of what people love about Mass Effect is all of the stories that were told within the larger universe, but still within the Milky Way Galaxy, so I think that'd be a great place for the series to return to. In the comment section below, share which direction you think the Mass Effect series is headed. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.